Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WWH after show for Thursday night Showdown. We're a little late in delay because of personal reasons, but we are back and we are good to go. So, this past week, it was just amazing. It was very well done. Everything went together. Granted, a few segments were a little confusing, but it still got the job done. So, let's talk about it. We have the opening segment, which was the world champion Randy Field and Chris Matthews. Um, it started off with Field saying that, for a month now, the world title's been like a burden, and he feels any questions, why am I given this? What, to him in his way, he's been given, why am I given this burden? And it's as if, you know, it was answering back, but really it wasn't. But it's Randy Fields. What do you expect? And said that it needed him, and he kept on going about telling Nick Sanderson like he's nothing. He's gonna prove it at WrestleMania, and that it's just you know a Cinderella story, and saying like the Cinderella story is going to end, all that fun stuff. And then it moves to Matthews and saying, like, you know, he devotes his life to him, that he saved him from this, I guess you could say, darkness, and Fields was the light that guided him out of it. So, very interesting to see. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's looking very interesting. And could this affect Nick Sanderson, since Sanderson beat Matthews in the Iron Man match at Road to WrestleMania? The next segment was Jake Orton. He came out and basically um, plugged his first ever show on of Grim Radio on the WWH network, and it did very well. So there most likely will be another episode. He said sometime after WrestleMania. So we'll see about that. But then he basically called out the international champion, the new international champion, Jacob Cass, and saying he wants to face him for the international title. So that's an interesting match, but we'll be discussing the WrestleMania card a little later. But the first match was Alicia Hicks versus Lacey Von Erich, and both women did their very best. However, Lacey Von Erich got the win. This is her second win, I believe, so she's on a roll, and she's proving that she could be a strong Bombshells champion if given the chance, or even hardcore international. She hasn't really said what she wants to go for, but I'm guessing she probably wants to start off light, so perhaps Bombshells is a good shot. But after the match, it was Morgan and Hannah that came out, but Latoya also um, got into the mix too, per se. And it turns out that this coming week on Showdown, there's already two matches involving the Hicks sisters or cousins. It's very tough to tell. So we'll again discuss that later on. Another segment goes off, and it's Damage basically calling out, telling him like he wants Finn Balor, and then Equinox as well. You know, Equinox obviously, told um, I almost lost my place, but uh, Finn Balor told Damage like it's he's getting annoyed by the losses and that he's been running away. So he accepts the challenge from Damage for a Burn with Chains match for WrestleMania 8. That is an interesting concept. It's definitely new as far as what type of violent matches we've seen. So we'll figure out what's going on with that. The next match was Chris Orton versus Dead Skull, and by everyone's surprise, Chris Orton got the win, and even Dead Skull was surprised too. And the Soulless Kingdom came down running and tried to attack him, but Chris Orton got out in time and just left. Like he didn't want to be part of that. Um, After though, the following, it was a segment by Vicious Impact. They came down and said like, okay, Chris Orton cheated on Harlow, so their marriage is over. Okay, we get it, I guess, because Chris Orton was kissing Leah Rose or something. So that's the end of that. And apparently now uh, Harlow and Evan are a thing. So bit of confusion there, I guess. So anyway, moving on. Equinox came out and basically just said that this is a very good momentum for him since last week he won with Finn Balor. So now he was, trying to decide, you know, what to do for WrestleMania. He mentioned Damage since Damage attacked him last week as well. So there could possibly be something there. But for now, he hasn't really said what. So the next match was a tag team with Vicious Impact versus Bailey and Tiffany White. And Vicious Impact got the win, unfortunately. Bailey did her best. She actually looked really good in the ring. Tiffany White did hers too, but it just wasn't enough to get the win. So uh, it is what it is. And Domination Inc. That's their actual tag team inside the stable. Lacey Vicious and Harlow Michaels, and you know they're doing very well as a tag team, and that could surprise people. But after it, Bailey picks up Tiffany and does her hugplex, and that was the last time we've seen of Tiffany, unfortunately. So another segment came out, and it was Stefan Rab, and stating that he wants to face somebody um, at WrestleMania. He feels that he wants to show who's the best so far, and since he did a very good job at the Royal Rumble, he seems like he has another itch to go at it again. So who knows who's going to answer his call? Another segment came out and it had the tag team champions Naomi Martin and CM Punk, and they're discussing like right now they're gonna, even though they weren't booked, they were still at the arena, and they're basically taking a look at teams on who could go after them. So that's another interesting thing right there. Um, Also, another segment after that, which we head back to the ring, and turns out Chris Matthews was in the ring, and even though he said he lost, it was the greatest match that he's ever had. But what happened after it was he and Fields attacked Sanderson, and that's where they basically, um, I guess, joined forces. And all of a sudden, The Rock comes down and attacks Matthews to kind of even it out. Fields ran away. You know, even though he's a world champion, he seems to run away a lot. Like he's all talk, and when it actually comes to beating people up, he either attacks them from behind, like it's like a sneak attack, or he runs away whenever things even out, or that type of thing. So Matthews calls out the Rock. Rock doesn't come out, and Matthews says, "That's what I thought." So I think there's some tension there between The Rock and Chris Matthews, even though The Rock's one of the assistant GMs. He still made it known like doing 2-on-1 or any type of those attacks is no good. So um, that's where we're at with that right now. After that was another. Actually, this one was probably a good match. Not probably, but I would say probably one of matches of the night. You could say. Um, this one was Scotty Beast and Annalise Vance, and in the end, both of these wrestlers really showed like the crowd was really liking this match. But in the end, Scotty B's got the win via countout though, and Annalise wasn't happy because she wanted the win obviously. So what happened is they both kept fighting, and it seems like these two are not done. Could this lead to a WrestleMania match? I don't know. It depends. So um, we'll see what happens. After that, another segment with Rose and Morgan McGinn. Um, Basically, she's just now trying to decide, oh, who's worthy of going after her Bombshells championship. And for now, she just said, let's just worry about the Hicks sisters, and we'll go on from there. Also, Equinox came back out and said that he wants to show what he can really do, and even suggested a six-man tag, but unfortunately that did not happen, as you saw in the new Showdown card. So he's now motivated, and that's always a good thing. So I can't wait to see what he has in store for this week, since it's a number one contendership for the tag team titles with him and Finn Balor against the Order. So that will be a match of the night in itself too. The next match was the Order going against Brady and Cliff Foster. Now, after Road to WrestleMania, Brady is the new hardcore champion. However, this match, it showed that I always say Caleb, it's Caleb, but he's still bitter about the loss, and this week proved it. And even though the Order got the win because Blackout attacked Caleb from the outside, but no thanks to Monica, because Monica pulled him down from the apron, and Caleb chased after her, and Blackout just hit with a Yakuza kick, knocking him out enough to where they hit the routine of destruction. I think that's what it's called. And that was that. But after Caleb attacks Brady, kind of still not happy about the loss. But then the Order comes in after their win and attacks both Brady and Caleb, and Blackout kind of showing that he's the next guy, that he's the guy that's going to win the hardcore title. So this feud is doing very well as far as my perspective goes. It's very interesting to see these three interact, and this could be one of the matches of the night at WrestleMania, and let's just keep going with that. Um, Another segment aired, and it showed the Soulless Kingdom. Showed Dead Skull. It showed Jacob Cass, Lance Adams, you know, and it's basically saying like, you know, telling everyone like he controls the fate of Jake Orton, and then he announces that there's there's going to be four contenders for both of the biggest championships, and that WWH thought with that being said, you know he decides to do a pick your poison stipulation where Jacob Cass is facing Nick Sanderson and Jake Orton versus Randy Fields. Both are very good matches, so they'll stand out, but I don't know if Cass is really ready to face somebody like Sanderson. I mean, he keeps saying like, oh, he's the international champion, and he's defeated Ryan Payne to do it, but now it seems like all that championship awareness is getting to his head. Like, I think he's starting to talk more than provide, you can say. And I think this week on Showdown, it'll really truly show if he can really stand on his own, because he's part of the Soulless Kingdom, but that doesn't mean that he can do he could do good on his own too. Like he won the international title on his own. So I think it'll be very interesting to see what's in store for the showdown this week as far as Jacob Cass goes. And then another big match with Jay Gordon versus Randy Fields. Uh, Jay Gordon has proved that he wants that international title. However, this week on Showdown, there's already another contendership match or a contendership spot for the ladder match at WrestleMania. So if I were them, I would also watch that contendership spot match to see, okay, who's the other guy that's gonna be part. There's gonna be two matches. This was for this week, and then another one for the next week. So if I were them, I would just keep an eye on those two because it could be people that they did not expect to be in it. So, and finally, the main event, it was Randy Fields versus John Blade, and a lot of people were expecting, oh, this is going to be an easy match. This is practice for Randy Fields. This is, this is basically training camp for him. But it turns out John Blade came for a fight. Like he wanted to prove that he was one of the best, and he hurt Randy Fields as much as even though Randy Fields got the win, he hurt him pretty good. But it wasn't enough, and Randy Fields beat John Blade, and in the end, Randy still kind of continued the assault, and he hit him with another sleep apnea, and he did it while Blade was being helped out of the ring. He was already on his feet with the ring crew, and then Randy just hits another sleep apnea and knocks him out completely. And then Sanderson comes down and just looks at him, as if saying like, "Don't you try it again? I'm here. Don't be pulling that." So it's very interesting to say the least of what's going on with Sanderson and Fields, and these two just really don't like each other, and it's showing every week. And I'm looking forward to their WrestleMania match. That's all I gotta say about that. But that's the end of the after show for Thursday Night Showdown. Uh, we'll be having another after show this Thursday, and make sure to follow, subscribe, and add us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at WWH EFED. And make sure to tune in on Showdown this Thursday as we're taking place live from San Diego at the San Diego Sports Arena. So everyone come down. There's still a little bit of tickets left, I believe. Um, Also to check out, there was something else. Radio appearances. That's right. We have a couple of radio appearances. I will talk more about that in the news report. But thank you everyone for listening, and I will talk to you guys on Thursday after Showdown. See ya.